Good evening, President Martinez, Board Trustees, and Superintendent Aquino. This evening we have a brief presentation to bring back additional information requested by the Board at our March 27th budget workshop. We will be reviewing the compensation options previously presented on March 27th, and we will also have additional options based on the feedback that we received. We'll show administration's recommendation and cover additional compensation initiatives previously discussed. So we'll start with the compensation scenario A1. This is exactly one of the options that we presented last week and has no changes at all. This was the 3% general pay increase with the teacher model A, and combined with the $17 minimum entry for non-exempt employees with 11 cents of compression. All of the alternatives that we're going to show tonight really focus on the non-exempt employees. We are keeping the teacher model A in place as well as the 3% general pay increase. So the change on this is shown here in new model A1, and we've highlighted in gold the change that is different than the prior slide, and that is that now the non-exempt employees have a 4% general pay increase rather than the previous slide that showed a 3%. So this is the revised model A1, including a 4% minimum general pay increase for non-exempt. This is the previous slide that we showed for model A2. It still has the teacher model A, the same 3% general pay increase. And for the non-exempt staff, this was no increase to the minimum entry. It would still be $16, but the compression adjustments were larger. So it would be 20 cents per year of service for pay up to the maximum of the pay scale. And so again, this one was previously presented on March 27th. The new model A2 incorporates the request for the 4% general pay increase minimum for the non-exempt staff, and so this reflects that change. We do have a new model to show this evening, which is administration's recommendation for the compensation model. Again, the changes are highlighted in the gold, so this recommendation incorporates the 4% general pay increase for the non-exempt staff. We have a new recommendation for the minimum entry pay to go from $16 currently to $16.50, and then the compression adjustment to be set at 15 cents per year for each year of service for pay up to the maximum of the pay scale. And so this particular plan, where the recommendation previously was the A2 plan, this new model A8, including these three differences that I just mentioned, is an additional $300,000 for the general fund. We have prepared some slides that will be used to illustrate the differences in the three different models that we are reviewing tonight for the non-exempt pay. And we've selected three different roles to illustrate for you how the three different models, 1, 2, and 8, basically look with the different features of these models and how they look across an employee's years of tenure. So the first model 1 is in the orange color on the graph, and it basically is the model with the $17 minimum entry pay. And that was one that was previously presented, and then we presented the revision with the 4%. The model 2 is in the gray color. Again, that was the previous one that was presented with no change to our minimum entry pay. It was at $16, but we did update it to include the 4% general pay increase, and that one is shown in the gray color. The new recommendation is Model 8. That's shown in the green color. It is kind of sits in between these two models, and so we're taking some features from each one. So the 4% general pay increase for the non-exempt staff does stay, and then the minimum entry rate for for the pay scale would increase to $16.50 from $16, and the compression is set at 15 cents incremental pay per year of service up to the maximum of the pay scale. So this is how it would look for the custodian role. Additionally, we have a little bit more information on the graph at the bottom of the page, and that is basically showing you how many employees we have currently at each year of service all the way across. So that's just helpful information to see how they would be impacted by these three models. The next role we are looking at is our food service cooks. And again, the same methodology applies. You can track the way that those different options kind of behave by viewing them on the chart. And again, administration's recommendation is Model 8 in the green. And the last we looked at is the bus driver. And again, this one probably visibly shows it the cleanest in terms of how those models work. So just to highlight, the orange model is the $17 entry, so you can see that the bus drivers coming into the district with no years of experience would have the highest starting rate, but the compression is the lowest of the three models. So over time, the difference between entry and 20 or 25 years of service is the least increase, whereas the gray is the Model 2. You can see that the entry pay does not change for that group, but over a period of a long career of 20 or 25 years, they have the most upward opportunity for making more pay over time. And then, of course, our recommendation is the green because it incorporates some good components from both models, and it does sit kind of right in between those two, and we feel that that's a good recommendation for next year. We also want to cover additional compensation components that were presented last week on March 27th. So this particular slide details all of the additional compensation initiatives that are being recommended, and you can see that there's many new stipends or increased stipends that were strategically recommended for various needs across the district. And there is no change to the slide from what was presented on March 27th. The total of the additional compensation initiatives is $2,158,956 for the general fund. We also are studying two additional initiatives that will possibly be brought back for your consideration, but they will not be ready for the April recommendation. The topics that are currently being studied are as a possible work hours adjustment recommendation for some instructional assistant roles. Additionally, there's being studied for a stipend or differential pay for employees that are assigned to hard to staff schools. So the information, once it's reviewed and analyzed, will be brought back before the June budget adoption. This is the original summary slide that was shown on March 27th at the budget workshop. It included the compensation recommendation components at the top, previously recommended, along with all of the additional initiatives that we just showed, and the total for everything was $19.6 million for the general fund. This is our updated slide that includes the new recommendation for Model 8 for the non-exempt employees. All other costs on the slide are identical to the ones that were presented on March 27th, and the revised cost for this plan is $19.9 million for the general fund. And again, this slide was also shown previously on March 27th, and it just basically incorporates the cost of our compensation initiative plugged in for this year at $20 million, and the revised budget deficit of $40 million for this current year and into the remaining years for our sustainability plan. And just one more slide that we had shown in a little bit different format previously, but should a compensation initiative be approved that is greater than $20 million, we wanted to list for you some of the items that would be impacted with a larger than $20 million compensation increase approved. And that concludes my presentation, and I will be happy to answer questions on Monday night. Thank you.